Okay, so I'm finally starting to sell a decent amount of the alpha models. So I only got 3 boards left. So that's pretty cool that I was actually able to sell most of them. It's kind of been at the point where it was first pay, first serve because I was just waiting for payments. So yeah, I got bored and tried printing one in white just to see what it would look like, and it sure is strange, but yeah, it's just interesting. But there's a cool side effect of this thing. It actually glows, which is pretty cool. So now when you change the colors, you can actually see the case glow. I'll put you in the dark. There you go. It's like a little party disco or something or other. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I don't know if I'll be selling them in white, but I just thought it was kind of cool. Okay, so now that the alpha stage is rolling pretty well, it's going to be hard to make estimates on, when the open beta stage will be ready to go. I do have lots of parts, but I still want to mess around with some stuff. I kind of made a mistake. I should have included one of the better boards in these models, but the problem is I didn't incorporate the PCBs for them. I had 2 options I could have worked with. The Pro Trinket is what I went with, and the Metro Mini over here would have been better for debugging and things like that, because this has a USB serial out capabilities, so you can send stuff to the computer, and that would be helpful for looking at people's streams and stuff like that. And it's only $5 more, but obviously, as you can tell, the pin layout is different, so it's not like I could just get them to work on the boards that I had made. So these boards can only use the Pro Trinkets anyway, so I figured whatever. I don't know, but I am thinking about making a developer version board that has the Metro Mini in there, so it does have more features if you want to mess around and play with all that stuff. But yeah. As for the alpha stage, there's a couple people that have these things, and it seems like they turn on and sort of work, but I'm starting to run into issues with the stream, so these things aren't ready to go yet, and I'm very glad that I did do an alpha stage instead of just sending them to everyone, because otherwise I'd be overwhelmed with what I need to figure out. So if you want to stay up to date with everything, you can just go to my Facebook page, and I usually update what's going on with what I'm doing with everybody. Now, one of the guys that I sent the alpha model to, actually the first person to receive an alpha model, was Carl from AIC Off-Road, and he's made a bunch of videos about it. So if you want to see what the tool looks like in someone else's hands when they try it for the first time, he actually goes through and uses it and takes it apart and paints it later too, which is cool. So I'll leave a link if you want to watch his video and see what it's like for trying this thing out for the first time. Now, as of right now, I need to look at the streams that everyone's getting, because some people are getting bad data and it's like out of order, and I kind of knew this was going to be an issue, but for me it only happened with the truck when it was off, so it wasn't really an issue. Once you turn it on, all the data was good. And the same thing even happened to Carl. When his was off, it looked like it might have been reading a little funny, and when you turn it on, it'll read funny for about 2 seconds and then switch over. But now his isn't switching over anymore, so I'll have to look into that a lot closer. So, yeah. This video is going to be more about what the alpha testers need to do for uploading new code and stuff like that, so that they can help me try new things out. And also for you guys that, didn't get a model but maybe want to check out the code or see how hard it is to use these things, well, stay tuned. It's not going to be terribly exciting, but it'll help the alpha testers out. Okay, so this is really exciting news. This just in, it actually does work on manuals. So this is someone that sent me some footage of theirs, and we actually get data. Now, the data is wrong because things. I still need to look into that. I've got streams set up here, and I'm comparing his with some others and seeing where it goes wrong. And it looks like there's an extra one somewhere in here that's throwing the rest of it off by 1. Or maybe 2, I don't know. I gotta figure out what's going on there, but... So we got things that are going on, but this thing works on manuals, apparently. So, that's really cool. Or at least it works on his, I don't know. Maybe my buddy's 87 manual is just fucky or something. So that's cool. So maybe I'll send a couple of these out to some manual guys now. So let me go over a couple things that you might need to know about these models. So first off, let's open it up and take a look inside. So in here, we've got our main Arduino. This is the Pro Trinket. The only thing you really need to know over here is that we got a couple lights. There's one light that shows it's getting power, which is green, and the red light shows you that it's getting data. So if the red light is blinking at a normal pattern, like a normal rate, then you know you're getting good data. This button over here is reset. All it does is it basically restarts the board. So when you push this, all it does is it restarts the sketch from the beginning. It's kind of like pushing the restart button on your computer. It doesn't reset any of the code or anything. The other thing inside the code, when you go to the options menu and there's a reset, that resets all your settings. So if, you know, colors and speeds and things like that, it all gets reset. But if it's like reading wrong, that's not really going to change anything. Now the other thing is this contrast knob over here. So if your screen doesn't read for some reason, say you get a blank screen, the first thing I would check is this. If you get color but you don't get image, adjust that. I've been trying to adjust these so that they read. So like say for instance you get that, you know your contrast is probably okay. But when this boots up, so we get stuff here. Now, say for instance you turn it on and you get color, but you don't get any text. What I'm going to do is twist this knob, and there we go. And if you go too far, it'll just, it's not really shown on here, but when it's running on the car you'll see like black boxes. So just adjust it midway so that the boxes just kind of disappear and it's clean. So yeah, that's the contrast. The problem is when it's powered through USB, it like doesn't get as much power as when it's running through the car. So your contrast will change between running on the car and running on the computer. So I would adjust it for running on the car if you can. So that's that. But there's a couple of things in here. So first, when we go to settings, over here, the reset device, that just resets the settings. So if you hit yes, all you gotta do is power this off and power it back on, and it resets everything to stock. So we unplug it, plug it back in, and it'll reset. Now, this right here is what's called the bootloader, and this is important later when we go to upload code. But when you plug it into the computer, it takes 8 seconds to boot. When you plug it into the car, it'll boot instantly. So if you're an alpha tester, one of the things I'm going to ask you to do if your data's funny is go to options and go to debug. Now this screen right here is going to show you a bunch of numbers. There's two different versions of the screen. So version 1, this is in regular decimal. This is the numbers you're used to. If you push any of these bottom buttons, this is hexadecimal. So now every 2 numbers is equal to every 3, and you got to convert them. So if you want to go back, this is decimal, and this is hexadecimal. Okay, so that's just that. The next thing, the top buttons, that changes the page. So on decimal mode, it actually tells you what the page is. It'll blink on the bottom right. In decimal mode, it does not. I also didn't put a limit, so don't go past page 2. But yeah, this will show you numbers. So I will tell you to take pictures of them and send me the numbers you get, since this thing can't output streams to the computer, which would have been easier, but you know, whatever. Okay, so what these numbers will mean, that they actually, it's the raw numbers that come off the ECU. So if we come over here, eventually when I put them all together, it'll look like this. So we get like page 1, page 2, page 3, and by lining them all up over here with my list, I can try and figure out where things have gone wrong and stuff like that. So that's just what that's used for, is to try to figure out where everything is at. So besides that, another thing I might ask you to do is update your board. Okay, so first what we're going to do is download the latest version that you want. I'll probably leave a link. I'm still not sure exactly where I want to put all the files, but for now I'm going to host them on my Google Drive as a public link. So we'll paste that and go, and see what happens. Blah, blah, blah. I'll click download, and that should download at the bottom. Okay, cool. So now that we have our file, next what we're going to want to do is download the Arduino IDE, and that's what, you know, you can physically code on and all that stuff. So that'll go to the download section. We'll download the latest version. Since I got a Mac, I'm going to download the Mac version. You can contribute if you like, or you can just download. I actually did give them $5, just because they're so useful. Okay, our download's ready, so we're going to open that. It's going to unzip it and do all its stuff. Okay, so now we can open up Arduino. I guess on this newer thing it's got some verifying stuff, I don't know. Yes, open. Okay, there we go. So this is what the sketch page looks like. This is what all the files will look like. So now we're going to go open our the file that we downloaded, the Renduinix version. Now the only way that this can open is if it's in a folder named after itself. So when you click open, you'll usually get an error, and it'll ask if you want to create a file, or it'll ask if you want to create a folder with the same name. Just click OK. So it'll do that. So here is the code, all of it. So, you know, if you're smart, you can read through it and see what's all going in there. But just know that there's quite a lot. Quite a lot. It's taken quite a while to write this. But yeah, if you're first starting this up, I like to display the line number. You can set the font size to a little bigger if you want, but none of that really matters. Okay, so now for the part, usually we'd be ready to go. So first what you can check is verify it and see if it works. Okay, we did it verified properly, so that's good. So next what we have to do is set it up for the right board. So now we have to go to the Adafruit website, and I'll leave this link in the description. Now this walks you through what you have to do to make their boards work. So basically you come down here and you get this link. So I'm going to copy this, and in Arduino we're going to go back to those preferences. And down here, additional board manager URLs. We are going to paste that file in there. And then I believe you can just click OK. So that'll do that. Okay, so now what we do is we go up to here into Tools, Board, Board Manager, and then right now it's downloading all the other stuff because we haven't been in here before. But just go to Contributed, that way it sorts a lot easier. And scroll down to, we want our Adafruit AVR boards. We don't care about the SAMD or Winst or anything like that. We just need the basics right up here. So you click on this, and it'll give you all the version numbers. It'll always just bring you to the first one, so just click Install. So it'll download, install, and now it's complete. So now if we come up here to Tools, we will go down to Adafruit boards. We want the 5-volt, 16 megahertz Pro Trinket, and we're uploading through USB, so make sure to click USB. Then we're going to go and change our programmer from AVR ISP Mark II to USBtinyISP. So click that, and now let's verify it again to see if it works now, because on my other computer I had some issues where it didn't work, but okay, this works, cool. If it doesn't work, what I found on my computer, since I was running a Lion, which is 10.7, I had to go back into the board manager, and I actually had to download an older version of the Arduino AVR board, like the standard AVR, and go to, I don't remember if it was like 1.6.12 or something. I had to keep going through until one of them worked. It's a pain in the ass. But let's go plug our board in and see what happens now. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to plug in our board. You have to plug in the port upside down, because that's just the way that the board is mounted. So we'll plug this in. Now, if you already see text on the screen, it's too late. But the way that these things work, since they can't communicate to the computer through their serial port, they actually left that board off, and they left that chip off. That's what makes this a little cheaper. What we have to do is flip it over, and we push this little reset button. So we're going to hit our reset button, and we're going to notice that that's going to change to a slow fade. So now we're going to come up here and click Upload. Now, if your computer's really slow, you're going to have to click Upload first, and then hit the reset button if it takes forever to compile. But you should start seeing that red light kind of pulsate and flicker. And then if everything works well, you should get an updated program. So there you go. So after that, you can safely unplug this and take it out to the car or whatever you need to do. Alright, there you go. So that's how you update these boards if you ever need new files. Now the other place you can go, if I can get it to work, I might use it or I might not. It's a little confusing, but we can go to GitHub, And I actually have my own, so if you check out Nick and Time Films and Renduinix, here's the GitHub for all that. I still haven't figured out the masters and branches and all that stuff. I really want to put each version into their own branch or whatever, so you only have to download one, or whatever you want. I want this to be, as of right now, I don't know how this works. All I know is you can click clone or download. So if you click download zip, then it'll download it, and then you get everything. You get the master. But when you open that up, you get everything. So you get all the versions and the README. I don't want you to have to download all the versions if you don't want them, but if that's how it works, hey, whatever. Okay, so now what you'll get is called a master, and that'll just have all the files in it, so you can click which version you want and do the same steps. So there you go. That's how you update these bad boys to get them rolling. So that's how we upload code. If you ever have to check what version code you have, we go to our settings and go to your software info. This is the software version number, and this is the unit that you have. The unit's not really important. I kind of know what everyone has for now, but the version number will be very important for later when we figure out things that have to be updated and all that crap. So that's how we upload. Alright, so look what came in the mail. We have here a manual ECU for a 4.0 liter. Look at this bad boy, eh? Bendix. Ooh. Made in France. My. Okay, so on the side we've got our two connectors. And yeah, that's about it. So, sorry I already took it apart. I couldn't resist. So if you want to get this board out, there are 4 T20 Torx, one in each corner of the board. So you will remove them, and there's also 4 screws that hold on the case themselves. And then the other thing is that there's a 6mm bolt over here. So you take all them out, like so. And now, because these connectors actually protrude through the case, you can't just pull it straight out. You have to lift this side of the board up and then pull it out, and you kind of just flip it over. So watch. Go like this, and pull it out. Ta-da! So this is just a case right here. We got some numbers on here. Made in France of 89. I believe this is a 1989 manual ECU, so that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, whatever. Okay, now onto the main prize. Look at this monster, huh? Let's get you a good aerial view of that. This thing has got some stuff on it. So we come down to our main diagnostic connectors, or just our main connectors. You can see they're all labeled. So we got our D pins, C pins, A pins, and B pins. And they're all numbered 1 through 12 and 1 through 16. Okay, so this is a very interesting setup. We actually have, it looks like surface mount cards. So they make little tiny boards that they mount all their surface mount components on, and then they have, through hole pins. And then the whole through hole, board just gets soldered onto the board. So that's really cool that they just manufacture all these, littler things that could then possibly be placed by hand, or, however the hell it's set up. But I just thought that was really, clever, to, save space and stuff like that. You could actually mount these off the board, technically. Although these days, that probably just takes up more room than is necessary with the pick-and-place machines that we got today. But it's just really cool the way that that's all designed. So, over here in this section we have our injector drivers. There's actually quite a lot going on here. I'm not fully sure how all this works, because it looks like there's a total of, what is that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 16 of these things? And there's obviously only 6 injectors. So there must be a reason why there's 2 of each, unless one's a backup, or they can't do all the load themselves, or maybe one is for the initial jolt, and then the second one is for the I forget if these are peak and hold injectors or not. There's 2 different versions of injectors and how they're open and closed and crap like that, but whatever. What else do we got on this board? We've got a bunch of chips, and they all say things. So, I don't know what they all do, but we have them. Is that Philips? And there are a lot of these things too. I think that says Phoenix 2, B11430. Hey, that almost looks like the program number that you can read off those things. B1 is 177, which makes sense since this is an 89. Then we have the PROM number and the calibration code. Huh. Cool. Okay. Got some other chips up here. They do, I don't know what, but you got them. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on this board, man. Big old diode, I guess? I don't know a ton about electronics. I'm still just barely getting my toes wet, but yeah, this is some really cool stuff. I tell you what. Oh, and look at that. All these things have numbers on them, too, so you can see what kind of board they were, what was on them. That one's a little hard to read, but yeah, that's cool as hell. Huh. Okay, so we've got a lot of chips. We've got a lot of these weird card things. Got some big old diodes, a lot of yellow thingies. It looks like we've got a crystal over here. So let's see what we got. That is a 4,000 kilohertz crystal, 168-3, cell 0889. Okay, so that's, if it's 4,000 kilohertz, is that a 4 megahertz or a 40 megahertz? I don't know, but that's quite a crystal right there. Vibrates like a son of a gun. What else do we got? We got this giant section over here. I don't know what's going on here, but it's a creative design. They have these big clips that are mounted that hold on to these guys, so this does something else. Oh wow, that's actually a lot bigger than I thought. Look at how many pins are on that sucker. It's got a big heatsink, so whatever that does, it makes a lot of power. So we got two big ones. I got some smaller ones. It's kind of hard to read with the heatsink in the way. Looks like it's got label ST on it, but it's kind of hard to make out any other numbers unless I were to take that off. I don't know how well that little clip's on there. Oh yeah, look, all these ones have different numbers on them too. Ain't that something? Okay. Well, there's a little in-depth peek at the board. And here's the back side if you're curious what that all looks like. Cool. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of why we actually opened this thing up in the first place. So, on our connector, we are looking for terminal D12. If we come up to, which one do we want? We want this one. Okay, so looking at this diagram I've got for a 1988, right over here is a diagnosed connector D2, and number 1 is our TX pin, and if we follow this brown-pink wire up, it goes to terminal D12, TX serial data out. And actually, D11 right over here is serial data in. So, they're right next to each other. So if we come down to the board, on this side, it looks like we have D12 and 11 right there. So if we come over, that is going to be on this side of the board, on these pins. So there's no traces here, but if we come up here, obviously you can't see the back ones, but we can follow where they go if you look very closely. So if we get you in there real good, if we start from the corner, 12 is 5 pins over. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in between 5 to the left, you can see this first guy right here. That one I'm guessing is our D12. And this one over here, I think, is our D11. So if we flip our board over and look for those that contact pattern. Now remember, this is going to be inverted now. So if we come over to, where were we at? Right here, I think, right? Yeah, these guys. So this first one over here is our D12, and that one goes to the third pin on this SMD board. And then number 11 goes over here, and that one goes to pin 2. Okay, so we got the second and third pins on this surface mount board, and that is, which board is that? That is this first board right here. Okay, so now if we come into this board, this surface mount board, now we can see the flip side. I need a better pokey bit here. Okay, so terminal 3 right here, this one should be the trace for D12. So that one looks like it goes into a big pad. I don't know if it's connected to those other ones with those very small traces. I don't really know exactly what's going on here. But it looks like it goes to the base of this little surface mount transistor. So there's no readings on there. But yeah, it comes to this base right here. Sorry, I'm so fucking shaky. This is small stuff. But yeah. So we've got our pin 2, our pin D12, which comes to the base of this one transistor. And then the other one is this guy right here for D11, which goes to, what is that? It's either the emitter or the collector. I'm not completely sure which. But that also goes to a pad that goes to other pads that go to other pads that do stuff. So, we also got a resistor and some other things that actually has some writing on it. P2H, and then, is that really text? Seriously? Hopefully that's just a logo, because that's not even close to being readable. This damn camera can't focus for shit. Okay, so that confirms that we know that our output was connected to a transistor, but I'd have to look up what the legs look, because it looks like it's going to the base, not the collector. And I thought that was the whole point of this whole thing, was that it was an open collector output. And there's nothing on the back side. If you shine a light through, you might be able to see any traces through the back, but I don't know. But it looks like it goes to something. I'd have to compare this with an automatic just to see if they really do the same thing or not. But hey, you know, now we can get a peek at what's actually going on inside these damn things. So look what I found on the Renix Power Yahoo group. There's actually a thingy here that goes over what all the chips do in the ECU. So we got RAM and EEPROM and other chips, MPU, MCU, whatever. So there you go. That might help you figure out what some of these chips do, I guess. Oh yeah, look at that. They actually have a thingy on here that tells you what they all do. Neat. Okay. Huh. So we get an analog digital converter, an EEPROM, static RAM. The MPU, I guess, is for ignition map. We got fuel math. IAC motor drivers. Huh. Neat. Okay, so thanks to a YouTuber that was a bit of a G-porter, he had a bunch of spare parts, and one of them was an AW4 transmission computer. So this is the TCU out of a Cherokee. I forget the year, but yeah, it's pretty basic. Not much to it. It's got one connector, and it doesn't even have any screws. It's just got a couple tabs that get bent over. So if we unbend these tabs, we might be able to take the cover off and see what's inside. Okay, so bend all the tabs. You can slide the cover off. So not a whole lot going on in there. Pretty simplistic board here. Cool. So we've got some big old finger dingers over here, which I would assume control the solenoids. We got TR5 through 8. We've got some resistors and things. We've got diodes. We've got chips. We've got all kinds of things. So, you know, these are all Toshiba chips. You know, AW4. I think it was made in Japan, so that kind of makes sense. So you can see everything that's going on in there. And we got our main chip over here. Now, I won't claim to know a whole lot about, you know, electronics and stuff like that. But, you know, that's what's going on in here. Looks like, what are those, resistor bars or something? They all share the same resistance or something? I don't know. It's very interesting. Got a couple little transistors. And they are marked, okay. Neat. I wonder if there's anything useful underneath. Okay, so we just had 2 screws over here that held it to this bottom plate, along with 2 pegs that had to be bent out a little bit. And that releases the board. So if we flip it over, not much going on here. Basically just the PCB traces and everything like that. So I can't get you a clear picture. There you go. And we also have a number here. $992707. Okay. So there you go. That shows you all the traces and everything right there. That's weird. Huh. So look at that. The screws are put in there. And then I guess when it's reflowed or however the thing is done, those heat sinks are, you know, forever like soldered in there. Huh. That's cool. Okay. Well, ain't that something? So there you go. That's what's inside the AW4 TCU. Not a whole lot going on there. Pretty basic stuff. Okay, so if we come into here on a wiring diagram, we can see that the diagnostic socket over there on the right is pin C4. So, and down here is a little thingy-dingy that tells you where they all are. So C4 is at the top left. I'm not sure if that is from the... I think that's from the harness view, not the ECU view, because if we come on here, you can see that the pins are numbered 1 through 16 from left to right. So if you come over here, it'd be from right to left. But anyway, yeah, there's numbers in there too. Yeah, C1. I don't know if it'll tell you, but the bottom's D. So we want C4, which is that 4th pin at the top right. So if we follow that one, top right is going to be the one towards the back, so that one is not populated on the back, so it's on the front. So if we come over here to pin 4, you can see that that one goes to this trace, which goes to this resistor. So let's bring you back up. So this resistor right here has a brown, black, brown with gold. So let me look up what that means. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever seen these guys before, a resisto guide. So it's got a little spinny wheel in here, and you change the color, and it tells you what all the things mean. So brown, black, brown is 100 ohms, and gold just means that it's a 5% tolerance. So we got a 100 ohm resistor that goes into what looks like the base of this transistor over here, right? Yeah. So if we take a look at that, that's a C143 XSW. I don't understand though, why are these all hooked up to the base? I thought that these were supposed to be open collector unless they're PNP. Maybe that changes them to... I don't know, man. You think this stuff makes sense to me? Because it don't. Okay, so if we follow the right lead from the front and this camera focuses, we can see that that trace goes through this little resistor bridge over there and goes somewhere into this chip. So, well, maybe. It could go through to this bigger one. I have no idea. But it runs off to one of these guys. The left one actually goes underneath the board. So this right here is our transistor. So one of the pins goes to here, which is this first small resistor board. This one up here, this is, what's that say? E4.7K ohms, 98. So I have no idea what that thing does. But it goes into, what was that, the third pin? No, it goes into the second pin. So I don't know exactly how that thing works, but it goes into the second pin and stuff happens, I guess. And then the other one over here, this one I believe is a ground. So if we check this guy on the left, if we follow this trace around, so if we follow this guy, we follow it around, Notice these are getting real big. It comes to the outside, it goes down there, it goes over here. I would have to safely assume that that is a ground trace. Either ground or power, and I'd pretty much assume ground. So, yeah. So that's the diagnostic connector pin. So if we can figure out what's going on with that with an oscilloscope or something, maybe we can figure it out. I don't know if seeing the physical hardware gets your brains pumping and any ideas on how to access that. So, you know, if this means anything to you and you have some ideas for how to actually access this thing, well, let me know. That's the TCU. One of my goals is to be able to read this thing eventually too. I know it's really slow, and if I can figure out the hardware, then hey, I can add it into the Renix monitors, so that'd be cool. Then we can get speed and gears and all that stuff, so. Okay, well, I think that's enough today. If you guys actually lasted through all that, I'm impressed. I'm pretty sure this will put most people to sleep, so. Alrighty. Next week should be something more on the mechanical side, so hopefully we get to go over to the Jeep and actually start messing with that thing again. So until then, you know, we'll let the alpha project go and see what everyone has to say about that, see if I can't smooth out some bugs and get these things working a lot more, get them working properly so that there's less bugs for the beta release. So, you know, stay tuned to the Facebook page. You know, when I'm ready to release open beta, believe me, I'll let you guys know with a video for sure. So, yeah, again, 3 more boards. I think I got a couple people picked out, but like I said, first pay, first serve. So, alrighty. Thanks for watching.